If this is you, you're not afraid of visibility. What you're afraid of is what will happen if you if you show up as your full, most powerful version of you.
Ooh, she's got chutzpah.
So you know your content. You live and breathe your expertise. But for some reason, you just can't bring yourself to the camera, or maybe it's to the stage. You second guess your content on social media before you finally post it. Or maybe you even ruminate after it's up. Visibility and marketing, they start feeling like drudgery. And you think, man, I just need the right strategy. I just need the right formula. Maybe I just need the right motivation. No, you don't. No, you really don't. At some point in your life, you let yourself be fully seen and people pulled away, uh, shamed you, ridiculed you, or shunned you. And they made you feel ashamed of your loudness or your brilliance or your you. So what you're afraid of, if this is you, you're not afraid of visibility. What you're afraid of is what will happen if you show up as your full, most powerful version of you. The self that you are with your best friend. That powerful, magnetic, unique you. See, it didn't disappear. It just figured out when it was safe to come out. And that fear, it's not top of mind, it's in your body, and it makes powerful women shrink without even realizing it, or realizing it and having no clue how to make it stop. But being yourself isn't the failure, right? That's a society problem. That's a people around you problem. Your power, your excitement, your brilliance, your difference, your everything that makes you you, the most magical parts of you weren't held. They weren't appreciated by the people around you. And what that did is, when you weren't appreciated, when you weren't held, you felt that in your body, right? And it trained your nervous system to fear being seen. So think back, take a moment. Take a moment to think back to when you were younger, and maybe it happened when you were older. For most of us, or most of the women that I work with, it's happened when they were younger. Think back to when you were fully you and there was a negative reaction. What did it cost you? Now, this may seem like a silly question, but it really isn't. Think of the very first thing that comes to mind when I ask you this. Who disappeared? Who disappeared? And where do you feel that in your body when you think of that moment? I mean, is it in your throat? Is it your chest? Is it your gut? Your groin? Your head? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you spent so much time disembodied from, or not being fully integrated with your mind and your body, that you don't know. You can't tell. And that's okay. You're still there. You're still there. I'm Deidre Beacham, and for context, before I continue, what I see over and over is this. Women either never step into the spotlight, or they do. And over time, something kind of flattens. Voice loses authority. The presence starts sounding careful, polished, scripted. And they don't know why. And I want to reframe what's happening here for you. Because at the moment, you may be feeling ashamed for not growing through it. Or maybe you've grown through it before and then it keeps coming back and you feel ashamed for not being able to overcome it. In fact, maybe you've had a coach that has shamed you for not pushing through it. Just record, just push record and put it up. Maybe you've been shamed for not having the fortitude to override your nervous system once again. That's not what's needed here. You don't need more willpower. You do need to take the mask off, but I do want to reframe the mask. The masking is intelligent. It's brilliant, in fact. Some of my most intelligent, powerful women have masked. This is your brain's response to visibility as a bodily threat. And in fact, actually, I want to, what's the guy's name? Robert, I think it's Sapolsky. Yeah, Robert Sapolsky. He wrote a book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And he studied animals and the responses that our nervous system have. And it turns out that biology, as far as our nervous system is concerned, is the same as animals in the animal kingdom. So humans and animals. Now, the thing is that because it's the same one, we know how the threat system works. So in animals in the jungle, yes, they have a hyper alert for danger, but when danger happens, it's really intense. You know, maybe there's a lion that pops up and there's a gazelle and he's chasing the gazelle and the gazelle gets away. When the threat's gone, so is the stress. It's gone. You're still alert. You know the danger is out there somewhere, but stress is gone. Human beings, on the other hand, experience the threat. And because it's the same nervous system, our nervous system experiences that threat as a gazelle with a lion. It's the same thing. We can't tell the difference. Our nervous system can't tell the difference. We just know it's danger. And then that automatic response, the survival mechanism, kicks in your amygdala and, right? Except after the threat is gone, we don't let it go. We ruminate, second guess, fill ourselves with anxiety instead of being in the moment. Yeah. So back to mass, sorry. because of this fear that you had in your body, right? And without any other recourse or any other understanding of how to deal with this fear, this presence of not being held or appreciated in your power, in your exceptionalism, in your uniqueness. Your mind created a mask so that you could become acceptable, palatable, professional, and polished. In the scramble to keep that feeling from occurring again, not only do you have a mask, you most assuredly have protocols, right? I certainly had protocols. So for being on video, I had scripts. Scripts are protection. It's protection against doing it wrong, being able to trust myself. Softening is just another thing you did that you may have done. I did. It was a way to reduce harm, right? I didn't want to harm others, but that wasn't the point. The point was I wanted to soften my voice so the harm wouldn't come back to me. So it's like a managing of people's feelings, thoughts. It's a hyper alert of others. It's a survival skill in order to, as the gazelle, not feel that intensity of a feeling, because it is intense. So to kind of recenter ourselves here and get to some things that might help you to move forward through this. So if you are in a situation where others so they don't leave, so they don't criticize, so they don't question, who do you become? Who do you become so others don't criticize you, question you, or leave? What part of you, if you had to pick, what part of you is always on watch? What part of you is always on alert? Or is it just in certain situations? And why those situations? So much of the work is about being curious about yourself. What did you lose by learning how to be acceptable? By learning how to stay small? But look, this didn't happen overnight. I know it didn't happen overnight. But you negotiated your way into smaller and smaller spaces, one relationship at a time. And in many cases, it's just systemic. You just became a part of who you were. I remember, this is kind of an old story, but I remember leaving my fiance. I was in my early 20s. And I remember walking into my apartment, and I was so excited. I was walking into my apartment after I had left him, and I'm like, "This is my light. This is my bedroom. This is my, shag carpet." It really truly was shag carpet. This is my wood paneling. Yeah, straight out of the 70s. But I was really excited to be on my own and to be my own woman, and I remember going to the CD store after getting my new apartment, and I went to the music store. I was gonna pick up a couple CDs, and I'm looking through the CDs, and I picked one up, and I was like, "Oh, love this group." And then I had this realization, "Wow, do I love this group because of my fiance, or do I love this group because I love this group?" See, some women can get so lost, and I count myself as one of them. Some women can get so lost in this desire to not be shunned, to be accepted, to keep being the nice girl, to be perfect, to be accepted, to be palatable. We kind of squash ourselves away. We become the people around us to be acceptable. And as I walked out of the music store without any music, I remember going to my car and thinking, who am I? And I have spent the rest of my life figuring that out. But here's the advice that a lot of people give to women that does not work. You hear this all the time, and I heard it. Just be yourself. I mean, it's really simple. Just be yourself. I mean, how hard is that? Just be yourself. Yeah. So you think, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be more authentic. I'm going to be more authentic. And when someone pulls back or questions you or criticizes or goes quiet or trolls you, your system panics and suddenly you're the gazelle, and that comment, the thought, the question is the lion. And your brain goes, see, too much, and tries to shut it down even further, making the pain, the stress, the anxiety in your body even stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's not your brain saying no, or even your willpower. You have plenty of willpower. Oh my God, and you're brilliant. This is your body's capacity saying no. Don't know that people realize just how many cells that are in our gut that have a direct nervous system link to our brain, sending information to our brain. It's like a second brain in our gut, always sending signals throughout our body. So when I talk about embodiment, embodiment is not simply an expression. It's nervous system capacity. It's nervous system capacity for discomfort when things around you may feel like a personal attack. Nervous system capacity for discomfort. Even when things around you feel or sound like a personal attack. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't feel things. It doesn't mean that you aren't aware of things. In fact, it means the exact opposite. And I want to talk about a distinction between authenticity and embodiment. So, authenticity is being yourself. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? Being yourself. Embodiment is still staying there when other people around you are starting to wobble, when people around you are feeling off or pushing you. Staying in your body, staying in the now, understanding and feeling and expressing what is happening inside of your body, understanding the spiritual nature of your body. I want to share, after I had done just a tremendous amount of work on myself, I'd done a 27-month experiment on myself to see if I could overcome these things. And a lot of what I teach today is a result of that 27-month experiment. But my first presentation after I'd done a lot of this work, as far as embodying my power and stepping into the power, so that instead of showing up polished and perfect, showing up embodied, fully enveloped in your own power, so that you show up with presence. So if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. We all make mistakes. We're all human. It's being human on camera. Being human so that your presence comes through, so that your connection comes through, so people can actually see who you are. I mean, who are you going to be if I get into a coaching relationship with you? Who are you going to be if I end up in a room together with you in a mastermind? Who are you going to be? Are you going to be somebody different? See, people don't have to worry about that if you actually are yourself, embodied and sharing your power. It comes across differently. So a few more questions, right? Oh, wait, I forgot to tell you about the presentation. Okay, right. So this presentation I was going to, and I had done my research. I always do research before I do a presentation. Put together a basic outline of what I wanted to talk about, did my research. And one of the things that they wanted was 20 minutes of Q&A after the presentation. Now, in the past, that would have set me into a panic because wouldn't have had a script for that. You don't know what the questions are that are going to come to you. What if they give you a question that you don't know the answer to? And oh my gosh, that's going to um, decrease my what people think about me as a leader, and what I'm thinking about myself. What are people going to think? And I mean, just the panic and the spiral that would have happened. I would have been anxious, and I would have. And instead, it was very different. Instead, this time, I thought, you know what? I know what I know. I am the expert here, right? As a visibility catalyst, I know what to do to help you to see yourself, to become your most powerful self so that you can show up with presence instead of polish. I know how to do that. And if a question comes up that is outside of the realm of what I know, that's okay. Because you know what? I'm giving a presentation to the North Carolina Executive Roundtables. These are all executives in the room, founders, CEOs, other C-levels, C-suite executives. And when I speak to them, if somebody asks me a question, I don't know the answer, I'll bet you someone in that room knows the answer. And I'll just redirect it to them. That's okay. I own my power, and I'm not diminished by not knowing the answer to something. And it's being present and firm and clear about who I am. So, a few questions for you. Can you stay present when someone misunderstands you? And what I mean by that, if somebody misunderstands you, does it put you into a panic and, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Do I need, or can you just be firm with who you are, stay present and stay in the now, and be curious about how to answer the question and listening to the question rather than what effect that has on you? Can you let someone be uncomfortable in a room with you without rescuing them? Can you allow them to sit in their own discomfort? And here's one that we don't think about a lot, but is so critically important to ask yourself. Is, can you let people leave your life without rewriting yourself? Now, I'm talking about the wrong people, because what will happen is as you step in your power, there will be people that will fight that. But we're going to get into that in just a second. We've done a lot of work here, and I just want to take a pause. I love somatics, and there are so many things you can do. There's energy in our body. I'm a huge believer, not believer, but I have done some study on quantum physics. I love the magic of who we are, but it's grounded in who we are as human beings here on this earth as well. So put a hand on your chest, right? And put one on your belly. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to pat anything. We're not going to do anything like that. Just breathe. Can you feel your chest move up and down, your belly move? Try doing it again and feel your body fill up with air and then release it. So we're going to fill up. Let's fill up to a count of 3 and then release to a count of 3. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Do you feel that? Do you feel any calmer? Do you feel the release in your body? You can do that a few more times. There's also a box where you can breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, hold for 4, intake for 4, hold for 4, release for 4. And you do that a few times, and you will actually feel the anxiety go down in your body, and you'll relax yourself. So what part of your body did you feel the release in? It's probably where you feel a lot of your stress. And one of the distinctions I like to teach women right here is the difference between being nice and being kind, because they are two different things. People get very worried when I'm like, you need to stop being nice. And here's why I say that. NICE is an acronym for me, is not in conscious existence. It's just rote. It's just you've learned patterns and you just go about doing what you've been told to do and you just do it. Nice girl training, we've been taught to be a certain way. However, and because of that, right, people can use "you're not nice" as a weapon. What I ask women to do is to instead be kind, keeping integrity and necessary defiance. Because if you're nice, that's all about thinking outwardly, watching outwardly, and adjusting who I am and what I do, what I say, how I show up based on what other people's expectations are, so I can continue to be nice, so I can continue to be accepted. Kind, keeping integrity. If I keep integrity with myself, with who I am and who I know myself to be, then in order to keep that integrity, I have to have boundaries. And when I put those boundaries in place, there has to be defiance. Because people who are used to you being a nice girl will try to cross your boundary. And in those moments, it's up to you to hold your boundary. It is not anybody else's responsibility. It is yours. You have to hold that boundary and say, no, you can't cross here. Or just no. And no is not rude. It will feel rude if it's not something you're used to saying. It is a full and complete sentence. You do not need to explain yourself. That is nice girl training. Explain your way to smallness. When people aren't used to your kindness, they will feel rejected. Maybe even call you angry, call you a liar. They'll feel rejected by their inability to utilize you as they always have in the past, to take advantage of your good nature, to cross over your boundaries, which aren't boundaries if people are crossing them. They're simply thoughts. They can be lonely. It can be lonely doing this work. But it is entirely possible, and it's entirely possible on your own. I highly recommend a community that understands you and holds you not when you need, just when you need help, but when you succeed as well. Right? Women that get excited about your success and excited about their own successes and moving forward. And if this landed for you, if all of this landed for you, awesome. The beautiful thing that I want to share with you is that you're not broken. You are in repair. And you've come to a very safe place. This is the work I do with women who are done shrinking, not to be seen, but to stay whole while they are being seen. So your power no longer feels a threat to you. Be bold, be you, be known. Take care.
Ooh, she's got chutzpah.
Check it out.